I'm Kevin Wolf with Software Logistics. Software Logistics is a company I started in 2001. Today I'd like to show you our product, IoT App Studio, a web-based development environment for building end-to-end IoT server applications where the focus is on configuration rather than coding.
Kevin, you've been doing quite a bit of IoT development. What are the pain points developers have when creating an IoT application today?
A goal of any IoT implementation is to get from concept to ROI as quickly as possible. There are many obstacles for this goal. For instance, building a simple proof of concept is very different than building a production-worthy system. Working with one or two devices is much easier than hundreds of thousand devices, both in terms of management of those devices and the data that they send. In addition, developing, provisioning, and managing the infrastructure necessary to support all those devices that are sending messages every few seconds requires a very specialized skill set. Even once you have your implementation up and running, you need to make sure it continues to be secure, and you need a good way of monitoring its performance. Solving those problems are just a few reasons why we built IoT App Studio.
What do you mean by an IoT server application? How does it work?
At the heart of every IoT system are the messages that the device sends to the server. Our application lets you configure listeners that will monitor endpoints or message queues for incoming messages. Those messages are then passed to the planner where the device and messages are identified and processed by a set of pipeline modules. All this can be configured visually through our web-based IoT App Studio.
There are a lot of IoT platforms out there. What makes your platform different?
Yes, there are a lot of IoT platforms out there. However, we believe our system is different because of how easily and quickly you can bring a solution online that will grow and scale over time. In addition, our platform lets you focus on the specific needs of your implementation rather than more traditional software development tasks. This lets you very rapidly try new things and get from concept to ROI as quickly as possible. To build a secure solution, you need to find development talent experienced in building these types of systems. Those folks are in very short supply. Our solution has a number of configurable building blocks that are secure and scalable by default, so you can focus your time on how your solution should work.
What devices and sensors does this work with?
Our product is designed to work with any devices or sensors that can send data. You may have a significant investment in your existing devices, and we don't believe you should have to change your firmware to work with our product. To that end, we built a robust mechanism where you can define how your devices send messages as well as how that data should be used in IoT App Studio.
You mentioned your product has a focus on configuration rather than coding. What do you mean by that?
It all starts out with a listener where messages are received. We have many different options for listeners, including monitoring a REST endpoint as well as monitoring message queue servers such as MQTT and AMQP. We even provide listeners to receive messages from products such as Azure IoT Hub. All of these listeners are very configurable. We then provide a user-defined mechanism to extract message and device IDs from the receive pipeline. With these device and message IDs, we can find a configured path through our pipeline modules that determine how that message should be processed. Once that message has been processed, it's handed off to a transmitter where data from messages can be exported or sent to other systems.
Wow, it sounds like there's a lot going on there. It must be difficult to configure all of those components.
Actually, our system lets you break up the task of building an IoT application into many smaller, reusable chunks of functionality. Each of those chunks of functionality are straightforward and easy to configure. An example of this is configuring a message. You define the message ID and then how the field should be extracted from that message payload. Once the message has been defined, the format of that message is well documented and you can use it within any other of the applications. Once you've built all the reusable functionality, you assemble those into a solution that you can deploy and manage with IoT App Studio. In addition, we offer an extensive online documentation library that is coupled to the task you are trying to accomplish.
You mentioned the focus is on configuration rather than coding. Does this mean you can also add custom code?
Yes, we do allow a number of integration points where you can add custom code as necessary. We have a built-in scripting environment where you can add small programs or scripts that are executed based on triggers and systems such as data from messages being received or state transitions. Our processing pipeline is queue-based, so for more advanced customizations, you can provide a custom pipeline module that listens on a queue, performs processing, and then passes that message to the next module in the pipeline. This can be done by either a custom REST endpoint or providing a module as a Docker container.
It sounds like you have lots of options for both configuration and coding. Can you walk me through how your platform works?
Sure. After a message is received from the listener, all the relevant information is extracted from that message and handed off to the planner module. The planner then uses parsers that you've created to extract both the device ID and the message ID from the message. The planner will then use the device ID to look up the device from the device repository. Once it has identified the device, it will use a message ID to identify the route that describes the rest of the pipeline modules that will be used to process the message. From that point, the pipeline modules within the route are executed, starting with our Sentry module that authenticates the device and ensures the data coming from the device has not been tampered with. Once we know we can trust the message from the device, we hand it off to the input translator that extracts data from the message based on the message definition you've created. Once we have parsed all the relevant data from the message, we hand that off to our workflow module where you can store data back to the device and perform custom workflows, including sending events to state machines and preparing a new message to be sent. Once the workflow has been completed, any outgoing messages are passed to the output translator where they are formatted to be sent back to the device or any other system.
This sounds pretty complex. How long does it take to set all that up?
Actually, less time than you may think. As I mentioned before, each part of the solution can be configured and in many cases tested individually. This allows for breaking the problem into small manageable components. These components can also be reused across different applications. There is a small learning curve, but once you've built your first system and understand how all the parts work together, you can very quickly bring new solutions online as well as continue to maintain existing ones, all with minimal effort and a high level of confidence.
Okay, I think I understand your product is used to build solutions that consist of a listener that monitors for incoming messages and pipeline that can be configured to process those messages. And how and where do these solutions run?
Our product is container-based. Once you have assembled your solution, we provide a built-in mechanism where you can spin up a dedicated runtime that will host your application. Our runtimes have been instrumented to monitor your solution for performance and detect errors. We have a large number of options for hosting, including an inexpensive shared module for proof of concepts, all the way to an orchestrated multi-container environment for the most demanding solutions.
Can your product also run on-premise?
Yes, this is sometimes called IoT edge computing, and there are many good reasons to run this locally. We offer a standalone version of our runtime where your data and messages are processed locally on hardware that you provide.
Okay, thanks. I think I have a much better idea of what IoT App Studio can do. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
There are a number of common components out there that you will need to build any sort of IoT application. We've taken those components and built a toolkit. The components in our toolkit can be configured where most of the things specific to your implementation can be configured rather than coding, while still allowing plenty of integration points for custom coding. We think what we have created will dramatically cut down the time and expense it takes for an IoT implementation and help you get to an ROI much quicker.
What does the developer offer?
We offer a great environment to be able to build your applications. If you're a developer, we give you a free shared environment where you can build applications and test them out for free without having to enter a credit card. Once you're ready to scale up, you can select the right package that you need to be able to host your really big application and send that up to the cloud.
I'm new to developing with IoT. What do I as a developer need?
To get started, we have a couple different options. One option is to bring something like an Arduino or some type of sensor on board. An Arduino is a great place to start, but one of the challenges with that, it won't connect directly up to the internet. So you need some mechanism to be able to connect that to the internet because our product is server-based. A great way to start with some type of product where you can connect directly to the internet is something like a Raspberry Pi. We've had a lot of luck using Win 10 IoT Core to be able to build IoT applications. If you just want to build an IoT server application using our product because you know that you're going to get devices later on, one option is to use a simulator. We have a simulator that's in the IoT App Store, Android, and it's also for Windows 10. You can download that, and then you can create something that simulates a device that sends messages up to the cloud so you can perfect your IoT application before your devices are ready.
Where can I find out more?
You can visit our website at https://www.iotappstudio.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Thanks. Can you wrap this up with summary?
If you're building an IoT application, you need IoT App Studio because it significantly speeds up development. If you're not doing IoT, now is a great time to start with IoT App Studio. Your time savings will be amazing.